See if we're live yet. No. There we go. Welcome. Sorry about that, everybody. I wanted to check on and make sure everything was working. Okay, I need to let me put this in the best quality on my phone so I know if we're running like we should be. I see it always defaults to 480. Don't know why. Seems to be good now. So far, so good. Okay. Let us begin trying this once more. So welcome everyone back to our original video that I tried to do before OBS kind of flopped on me for a little while there. Welcome back to our comparison of Motorsport Manager to F1 22 or F1 Manager 2022, which, like I said, this isn't a which is better, it's more of a comparison of what's different and versus preferences for everyone who plays these style of games. And so whichever one you prefer, you'll get to know which one you like better. So this is an older game, I will admit that. Graphically, the other one is already winning just because of how old this game is versus that game. F1 2022 Manager is a lot newer, so it has a lot better engine that it was made in and stuff like that, so it naturally is the better looking one. However, there are things with the mechanics of both that F1 does good that, to a certain extent, that this doesn't, but then there's also ones in this one that are super good that F1 doesn't do, or the F1 2022 one doesn't do. So, but welcome back to Motorsport Manager, everybody. Welcome. Today we're going to be starting a new career. We're not going to do the underdog challenge where you start with no facility, no nothing, no anything. We're not going to do that. Look, speaking of which, there's even a mod to make this game like that game to a certain extent. I don't think it changes graphically, but it does give you like the extra stuff that probably, I bet you this one. This is a mod though. This is not in the game naturally, so this does not count. But that is cool that that's the thing though. But that's the benefit of anything on Steam or PC. You can just mod the heck out of it for anything. But we're not gonna be counting stuff like that. Only base game stuff. So we're gonna keep the laps. Here's the first thing I want to point out that is different from F1 to this one. Lap sessions. You really can't choose this in the other one because the laps are based on the track. So the other one, I will say, overall with realism, because in real life that's how it is, this part is actually a little more arcadey, where you can kind of customize and say, hey, I want shorter laps, longer lap, or normal medium level laps, which is quite a lot actually, 30 to 40, or long maps, and it shows you what the endurance times are as well if you're doing an endurance match, which, holy crud, if you do this one, you will be on here all day. At least for 3 to 4 hours straight. This one is a little over 2 hours. This one is, actually, wait, 120, no, this is 3 hours. Because 120 is 2 hours, and there's 60 minutes on top of that. Yeah, so this is 3 hours. So this one alone is 3 hours, which is the one we're doing. And this one would be 90 minutes, hour and a half. So, But and also this part doesn't matter, but you can technically set date and format style if you live in a different country. You can also choose your currency, which it only shows 3 though, so British pounds, euros, or American dollars. That part's not even changeable when it comes to F1 because I think it's based on your region anyways. Which I will say in that case maybe F1 is this, because this is kind of an unnecessary option to be able to customize. So, same thing here. But let's see. Start career with tutorials. We are going to do this because it's been a while. Tutorial is only available in single-seater category, which we're going to be doing anyways. Because I want the tutorials on not only for my benefit, because it's been a while since I played this version, but it'll also show what's different in the game as well. So, let us continue with that. We're going to do a little bit of a smaller version of what the Guardians are. So we're going to go to United Kingdom. Financial, political, unknown. He would be an ex-driver. So let's name him real quick. Oops, I accidentally clicked the thing. Hold on. One second, guys. My cord's being a little short right now. Okay. So Jerig. Oh, excuse me. That's it. Valintine. And we'll just give him he has to be a Leo, so I don't know if that matters in this game or not, but he'd be older than Drea, so actually no, he was the younger one, so it'd be this. Which is basically mine. I realized technically that basically this is the actual me character, like versus Malik's and all the rest, where they're just kind of custom characters. So he would have long hair like I would. Is there a long hair option? Yeah, kinda. Is that the only one? It looks like it. Yep. So we'll go with that. It's gonna be like really, like my hair looks basically like this color. Technically it's this color, but it's so dark that it can be mistaken for this. So we're gonna go with that. I'm pretty pale. Well, actually I tend to type when I wasn't, well I haven't been like getting to lately, but usually I try to keep this to this color of tan. This one commonly. So we'll go with that one. No glasses. Everything should be good. Continue. Okay, choose we want to create a team. We want single seater. Well, we're just gonna go to the top. This is gonna be more of a we'll restart this if we do a real series, like a really, really big series on it. So we'll do that. We'll just give it the best World Motorsport. Okay, so now we get to customize our team. I need to check the stream, make sure it's not lagging. So far, so good. Thanks, Damn King. I think we fully fixed OBS's issues. Alright. Let us call this Guardian Speed. We'll call it Guardian. Well, either Speed Guardians. Let me see. Problem is main text. Guardians. Can I do that? Am I allowed to do 2 words? Oops. Like in one thing? We're about to find out. Guard. Guard. My brain can't spell today. Ooh, wait, maybe that's better. Guardian Velocity. Ooh, hold on. Guardian. This is the problem. I don't know if I know how to spell this. Velocity. Guardian Velocity. Even if it's spelled wrong, we'll just call it, hey, you know, that's just how we spell it. So we'll try that. So logo design. Primary color needs to be... Primary color actually needs to be white. Well, I guess it depends on what color the car is going to be, right? Is the car going to be primarily white? If it is, then this actually needs to be mostly purple. Or it won't be, you won't be able to read it. The car is going to have more white. So, hold on, never mind. Let me change this. Let's go with a little bit of a darker purple than that. Yeah, right there. And then we look for... Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. I'm going to add that color as a custom. Apply color. Secondary color. That's probably going to have to be the white. Either that or... Wait, what about black? Once again, it depends on the car. We'll go with safety for now. We'll add a black color there and we'll go to apply. Now let's go for the different styles. Okay. Ooh, I like that one. Ooh, that's a good one too. I like the other one better. That was just the car. I do like the velocity being in purple. That's it, okay. I say... Let's go back to these two over here that are the best. We'll go with that. Alright. Primary color needs to be... We need to make a white. Hold on. I don't know if that's what I want their primary to be, but... Puts them in white. Let's see what black looks like. Ooh, I like that better. What about purple? I say purple. Secondary color, we'll keep that as white. Or do I want black? What looks better? No, the black one looks better. Apply color. Okay, carbon. This is where the important part comes in. Is the color of the car. So primary, this is where the white has to be. So yeah, this, apply. Secondary, I think, needs to be the black. We'll see in a minute. Tertiary will make the purple. Not bad so far. Trim color, we're gonna make a gold. We gotta make a gold color. So like that. Let's add that as a color. Do I want that though? How does that look? It's not bad. It's not bad. Part of me thinks maybe we should, so let's swap these. Let's make this gold. Apply. That looks good on its own. A little more clean. But let's make the trim color the purple. Maybe it's this library. Let's look at different libraries. See, it's always gonna make the fenders gold or purple. Interesting. So let's do something real quick then. Let's make this black. Make this the purple. Oh, that was the wrong one. Shit. Make this purple. Oh, wrong one. Make this black. Apply. That looks better. Secondary needs to be gold. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay. Now let's go through the libraries and see which one we want. We might change the tertiary and secondary around. Might be better to have the secondary be the purple. No, I don't know. That one's nice. That one's a lot of gold. Well, that one's nice too. Nice. Ooh. Okay, kind of like that one the best so far. Okay. Oh, that's very minimalistic with the purple. It's mostly black, gold, and white. Pretty, that's mostly purple, gold, and white. That's a reverse of the other one, basically. That one's a lot of purple and gold. That one's the one we originally saw. See, all of these are nice. Where's that other one now? That stripy one. Where'd it go? That one. So that is a opposite of this one? This one. So it's the opposite of this one. Versus, where's that one I saw? 6. I think 6 is the best balance of colors. Yo, Tam Games, what's up, bro? Welcome, welcome. So I think we'll go with that. That seems pretty good. Let's continue with that. Oh, wait. Yeah, everything's checked. So we are finished. Yes, I'm finished editing my team. Okay, here we go. Investment offers. This part is kind of the same. So let's go over this next part compared to F1. So in F1... you are, just like this, able to take sponsors and investment offers. Now, this part's a little different. In this one, The investment offer is something you get to choose. Whether you have high risk, pressure, da-da-da-da-da. And it gives you different bonus based on that. In F1, it's based on the team you choose. So, in my case, I chose Aston Martin in F1 22 Manager. So, the pressure of what your team needs to do is super low. Because you'll see these are the requirements. So, if I go with the lowest one, all I need to do for my investor in the first season is build a 3-star chassis in the first season and some small starting financial pack. Oh, this is what they give. So this is what you have to do, and this is what they give. Over here, for the medium one, you need to get your team's marketability up to by 40% in the first season. And then they give you a medium starting financial package. And then the hardest one, Golden Tiger, pre-built test track. Large starting. So the pressure is high on this one though, because this one requires you to, basically they're expecting you to actually probably make I think it's top 10 from what I remember what this translates to. Because what it's saying is it's going to give you a test track in your facility out the gate. So you can test your car's performance before races. So having this gives you a huge advantage. So they expect you to really, really deliver. We're, of course, for now, going to go with the easy one. Oh, I didn't know it did that. That's dope. When you customize your icon, it actually shows it. And the little loading screen goes, and it actually shows your icon. That is amazing. Oh, man. That's fantastic. I like that it uses my game running better now. It seems to be. From what it looks like in the stream, it looks like y'all are keeping up pretty heavy and staying at 1080p 60, because I have my phone set to that on purpose to see if my OBS is keeping up. And it is. Thanks to you, Jam Game, we seem to have fixed it. So, that's right, we get a test race. Y'all get to see the mechanics right out the gate. Because we get a tutorial, because I activated tutorial, because it's been a while. Okay, so, Motorsport legend Raja, welcome to the race. This is the tutorial. We will teach you the most important principles of motorsport management. Sit tight, you'll be making high pressure pit stops calls before you know it. These are your two drivers. The aim of the game is to guide them to glory. The higher they finish in the race, the more points you'll get. Get more points than anyone else and you win the championship. Let's take a look at where our drivers are on the grid. You can focus the camera on them by clicking on their portrait. Gillian and Vasilevich. Excellent. Now that we've seen where our drivers are on the grid, let's get this show on the road. Alright. So you're going to notice one major thing about this game, that the other game, as I already said, graphically won in that department. This game is always in top-down. There is no way to get any closer than this. That is the only downside, graphically, of this game that there is. But you're going to notice something a little different in the mechanics of the drivers as we do certain things. And the tutorial is going to help me walk through this to show you all the difference as well. Because if you've seen me do the tutorial in my stream about F1 22 Manager, you'll get to see the differences pretty quickly at some point. There's a lot of similarities, but there's also a bunch of differences. Alright, so what a dramatic start. Soon we'll start telling your driver what to do, but first take a minute to look around and enjoy the view. So, yeah, it's telling me, like, I can rotate and kind of, like, check out different angles. I can zoom all the way out if I want. There's another way to look at track view, and then I can zoom all the way in if I want. And then here we go. Here's the major part. This is pretty much the same. this part that he's about to explain. The only thing different here will be how the mechanics of the tires wear and tear are slightly different in this game and what affects them than they are in F1 22 Manager. Okay, let's start giving our drivers some orders. When dealing with driver strategy, there are 3 important things to remember: tires, fuel, and intensity. Each car has its own set of tires, which wear down as the drivers make their way around the track. A fresh set of tires, 100%, allows the car to go faster than a worn set of tires, e.g. 45%. Now, each tire technically has, this is something the tutorial doesn't tell you, a minimum range of percentage that you can drop that tire to before you start losing speed. I think this is a thing in F1 22 as well, but the way it calculates it is a bit different, and I'm not sure what the percentages are yet. So, but when tires become very worn, the car goes much slower than its full potential. The more drivers pushing, the hotter the tire gets, shown on the gauge, and the faster they will deteriorate. Next, fuel. Each car has its own fuel tank. The bottom number, EG plus 0.14, indicates how much fuel you will have at the end of the race. If you carry on with your current strategy, if this number is negative, it means that you are going to run out of fuel before the end of the race. So it's very important to keep an eye on this. The bar represents the amount of fuel you have. Or this bar represents the amount of fuel you have. The center of the bar means you have half a tank of fuel. Yep, I mean, duh. That seems kind of obvious, but you know. The arrows show how quickly your driver is burning fuel. More arrows means that you will be burning through fuel very quickly. So here's where the strategy stuff comes in. So now that you know about tires and fuel, let's change the driver's intensity through the strategy panel. Click on the strategy panel. Yep. So this is where this part's going to be slightly different. So in F1 22 Manager, you manage your ERS, which is the thing the cars use to go a little faster and boost their potential, a little more manually for your driver than you do in here. In here, if you tell them to do this with that, they're a little bit more effective with it, but you will actually... But the offset from this from F1 is, this will actually kill your fuel and tires. Where the highest setting in F1 doesn't really... It's a drastic difference from the lowest, of course, which would be down here. Also, they have one more setting on both of these than F1 does, if you'll notice. There's a backup and a low. Like, don't even try at all, basically, so you don't screw up your car. Because that's also something else that's different in this game. If I remember correctly, I haven't had one happen yet, so sadly I haven't had an example, but I think if you actually lose a car in one of your races and it gets badly damaged, I do think you have to get a new one in this game. So you really don't want to push your car if you know you ain't gonna win. So, but let's see. This panel is where you can make quick strategic calls while drivers are out on the racetrack. There are 2 areas, driving style and engine mode. And this is, now I'm going to let the game kind of explain each one and what it means by how, like, the arrows are self-explanatory, but this game is pretty good at explaining this a little bit better. This panel allows you to, driving style impacts how quickly your tires wear out. This panel allows you to change how bold or risky your driver is. The more intense the strategy, the more chances he or she will take to get to the front. However, the more intense the strategy, the greater the toll it will take on the tires. Each choice shows how much of an impact it will have on the tires, shown by the arrows next to each choice. Wearing through your tires quickly means you'll need to pit stop sooner. so be careful not to push drivers too hard. Change it to attack. Got it. Engine mode impacts your fuel burn rate. This panel allows you to decide how to push your car. Pushing harder allows the car to go faster, but also burns more fuel quicker. As with driving style, these arrows next to it indicate what it does. The more bars you see, the faster your fuel will burn. Or the more arrows you see, I don't know why I said bars. The more arrows you see, the faster your fuel will burn. Remember, if you run out of fuel before the final lap, your race will be ruined. Something else that's a bit different, we'll talk about in a minute. Set it to high. With these buttons, you can set your team orders. You can let your drivers fight each other for position with the race button, or prioritize one driver with allow teammate through button. Tip: if one of your drivers is holding up the other, team orders could be the solution. Driver strategy. Smashing! Your driver will now be pushing the car a little bit more around the track. The extra boost in speed should really help. Keep an eye on the tire wear and fuel levels though. These will now drop a bit faster. Let's see. Please tell me you named your driver Ricky Bobby. We will do that. I think I can rename drivers in this game. Unlike the other game, I'm pretty sure I can. If I can't, we're going to pretend one of these is Ricky Bobby. Whoever ends up being the faster one, that one gets to be Ricky Bobby. But in F1. God, he would be so dangerous in F1 with how he races. Pausing and resuming time. Yep. Now that we've given some orders, tinkering with time will help us see the effect. Firstly, we can pause and resume time at any time by clicking the pause button and the play button. So, pause. Press play, press pause button to continue. Tip. Pausing the race is a great way to give out orders without missing any of the on-track action. You can speed up time by pressing the ×2 speed button. Tip: fast forwarding time is a great way to see the results of drivers' decisions. Press the ×2 speed button. Yeah, no, okay, that's what that's why I have those numbers set. Lovely jubbly. The game is now running faster. You can also use these shortcuts, which I will from now on, now that it's finally given me the option to use shortcuts. So let me switch feet here and get into my position now on my keyboard. Okay. So you can now use these shortcuts to adjust viewing speed at any time. Hooray! You now possess the incredible power of time manipulation. Time to sit back and watch the race unfold. Oh, we're already... So that's regular speed. Okay, yeah, there's my... Whoa, my computer actually had a little bit of a hiccup right there, but that's fine. That was on my end, though. That was not on OBS. Some of it may jank a little here and there. Just because I have OBS prioritized now, which is why OBS runs better as well, because it runs in administrative mode now, which I didn't know about, which gives it priority on my processor. So OBS doesn't tank on you guys. Something I didn't quite understand. Oh, tires are worn out, 31%. I think mediums can go all the way down to 25, but since the game wants us to do it, we're going to do it. Blimey, your driver's tires are looking pretty worn out. Let's bring them in for a pit stop, where we can change their tires. Pit. Let's go through the pit stop step by step. So now we get to see how this is different. I'm going to read his version first, and then I'm going to explain the differences here versus the other one. You will notice something that ain't here, that's on the other one. This is the driver panel, which shows you 3 important bits of information. current race position, tire wear, fuel levels, these all play into which pit strategy you go for. The stint refers to the laps that your driver has done on the current set of tires, which this is something right here alone. This game wins in this part right here. To me, this menu right here, there are some things the other one has a bit better that I wish if you combine the two would be just the perfect thing. But the one thing this one wins automatically, this right here. It tells you its average time the driver was doing on the tires. It tells you what type of tires, how many laps it did on those tires, without going to another menu. This is a thing in F1 22. I'm not saying this 22 doesn't do this, but you have to go to a completely different menu to look at this and see what the what this says, so you can judge your pit stop. So you have to pause the game to do all that. Where you can just do quick pause, pit, boop, 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 done. Now there are things the F1 pit stop thing does have better that make it a little easier. But we'll go over that when we get to it. But yeah, this part right here, this is 1 point towards Motorsport Manager as far as pit stops. Alright, the stint refers to the laps that your driver has done on the current set of tires. After you complete a pit stop, a new stint entry will be created. This allows you to compare your driver's pace on various different tires, which can really come in handy, especially in practice. Tire selection. Picking which tires to change onto is a crucial part of any race day strategy. There are a number of different types known as compounds. Softer tires are generally faster, but they wear out more quickly. Intermediate tires are for light rain or damp tracks. Wet tires are for heavy rain or very wet tracks. These tires are the fastest we can use at the moment. So let's fit a fresh pair of them. So we want to change to softs apparently. Like I said, I would base it on what's happening in the race anyways if I was doing this. So I'm just going through the tutorial for this for now. If you click on the part condition drop down, we can check out all the driver parts and if they're okay. So here we go. So this is one I'm going to have to say is kind of even on both. Before I read this explanation, I'm going to say that technically, for this one, this is a bit more even. For this mechanic right here, they both have a really good system to do this, and it's just as efficient. You just have to know the difference. The only difference here is it doesn't show the part percentage very well in F1 22 Manager inside the pit stop. But there's a simple fix to that you don't have to go into other menus. Just check your driver before you call him in. There is a menu in the driver panel, which is where F1 kind of wins a bit better. We'll go back to that once we go back to the race. That you can check the car's parts in this panel down here during the race. Or the one for the racer over here. So this part's not really... This one, neither of them are really better at. They're both really good. So, each part on your car has its own condition level. This shows you the health of each part. The red area near the end of the bar shows the part's danger zone. That part, I will say, that alone, though, is a little bit of a notch towards this one. I'm not saying this is still better. I just wish this little red bar was also in F1 22. That part it doesn't show on the little menu for the car. Because then it'll tell me we're getting a little too close to this part not working. Especially as you stress your car's parts out more and more. Each part on your car has its own condition level. It shows the health of each part. The red area near the bar shows your danger zone. If the part enters your danger zone, its condition may suddenly drop. If a part's condition reaches 0, it will break down. Uh-oh, your driver's gearbox is looking a bit dodgy. To fix the part, click on the Fix Part button set next to to set it to be fixed. This will add some conditions back, this will add some condition back to the part when the pit stop happens. This should be enough to get your car to the finish line. So it's going to bring it back to 70, but you see how that added, and this part's the same, of course, in F122. Each part will add a different amount of repair if you have to repair it. If you click on the pit strategy drop down, you can see set your pit crew strategy. I think this is the same. I'm pretty sure you still do this in F1 as well, where you set your crew, whether you want them to be really crazy reckless and try to be faster with less efficiency, or more efficient but slower. Your last choice is how fast the pit stop should be. The faster the pit stop, the more chance that the pit crew will make a mistake, shown by the risk percentage. If the pit crew make a mistake, the car won't break, but it will simply add a lot more time to the particular pit stop. If you're in the close battle at the top of the leaderboard, it might be worth taking the risk of a quick stop, but not otherwise. Set it to safe. Yeah, 12% chance there's going to be a risk. That's not bad, to be fair. That's determined by who you've hired for all your pit crew. Which, that part's a bit different. We'll go over the roster one as well. This one has a better roster setup. Because this is your own custom team, you upgrade your pit crew in the other one, but you never really change them fully, like each individual pit crew member. Where in this one, every pit crew member matters, not just the head pit crew member. Like the head lead chief, the pit crew chief. That matters more in F122, where in here, the whole crew matters. So, this panel shows the estimation of how long your pit stop will take, and which position you are likely to exit the lane on. Which, I don't remember if it did that on the other one. I think this is where this one wins in the pit stop again. Gets another notch over here, is that you get to actually see. I think it might show you on the other one, but I'm not sure. Well, no, it won't. Because on this one, traffic doesn't matter, and that's where the difference of the racing I'll mention in a minute. Because airflow doesn't really matter in this game compared to F1. That's where F1 wins, is its dynamic physics on the car are better. It actually considers airflow and clean air, dirty air, and stuff like that. So that's where F1 wins in that aspect. Because this one does not consider that. It does not talk about whether you should pit and let them go out at this certain time. Now, you still want to be in no traffic when you're doing practice, so your driver doesn't get slowed down by traffic. But in the real race, clean and dirty air does not exist. Not in this game. It's more about the parts and the crew, from what I remember. Yeah, so this panel shows an estimation of how long your pit crew will take and which position you are likely to exit in the lane. This will be a long pit stop, but it should help us to win a few points. Alright. So it's going to be 36 seconds, so we're going to be, I don't see it right here. Oh, it shows it right here. His face is in the way. So I'll be in like 20th when this is done. Okay. Spiffing. The pit icon next to the driver's portrait shows that they are now scheduled to head into pit lane. So I'm going to pause for a second and look at chat. I'm so hyped for Football Manager 2023. I've been watching some Let's Play of Football Manager 2022. Yeah, that's the one I've played last. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited. I'm super excited about that too, Tam King. And I'm glad it's coming to console so we can play that one on PlayStation. That's gonna be a really fun game. Which, to let y'all know, that is a thing that's happening. Football Manager 2023 is finally coming out. I'm hoping Motorsport Manager, the game we're playing right now, does an updated version eventually. Or maybe does some sort of update to this game and makes it even better. I don't know how they would do that, but I really wouldn't mind seeing a Motorsport Manager 2. Not gonna lie. But yeah. But yeah, I'm super hyped for it. But alright, now I want to go over something on these panels while we're here. So, you'll note something different about this panel. This is where F1 wins, in my opinion. The strategy panel, kind of actually like this one slightly better. It's a little more condensed and easier to work with. This is just personal, though. This might necessarily not be better. However, one thing overall I do want to say that F1 does win in. You can see how minimalistic this is. Like, the tire wear and this percentage, what strategy is using, the heat of the tire, the fuel, how much fuel you're burning, is all on one panel. Whereas in the other one, to see the tire's temperature and some of its percentage and where you're going to be at, you actually have to go into a different panel that shows a little bit, that shows all the tires individually and their percentage and what's going on and their heat as well. Because sometimes, depending on your setup, their front tires actually might heat up more than the back tires in F1. So, I can already say one thing about this, that this right here, this game kind of loses in my opinion. Because the panels are a little too minimalistic, in my opinion. So you can't really control much. You are actually going to be kind of just messing with their strategies more than anything. And building your cars. I guess my thing is, F1 has better management on the track, where this game has better management off the track, which y'all will see once we get through this race. We're going to unpause for now. We're going to bring it up to speed 2. It's already on it. Good. But yeah, we're going to let the tutorial kind of play through. F1 Manager sold pretty well in console. So I can definitely see a Motorsport Manager getting ported over. Well, not even necessarily ported over. I just want a Motorsport Manager 2 to begin with. Like in general, I want a new Motorsport Manager game. But I wouldn't mind it being ported either. Like, I wouldn't mind a what do you call it? A PS5 version. So I could play it on PS5. Because, I mean, I may be a PC boy as well. But I grew up on PlayStation. So I always like to get my games on PlayStation first. Not to say that I think that PlayStation's better. PC is better overall in a lot of cases. But I'm just a Sony boy in that aspect. But yeah, I would love to see a port. Even if they ported just the first one, heck yeah, I'd play it on there. I'll buy all the DLCs again too. It's terrible to say it, but I would. This game is one of my favorite manager games, besides the football one. This one's probably a little more than the football one because I like racing over football in real life, aka soccer, or even American football. I don't really like. Actually, I like soccer over American football. I don't really watch American football. So, when it comes to soccer, which is what Football Manager is, which is the original football, it's second in manager games, but it's definitely one of my other favorite ones to play, though. This one right here, what we're doing, is my big favorite. That's why I kind of wish some of the more detailed in-race mechanics that you can manipulate from F1 were in this game. Because I think this game would no offense to F1 22 Manager, or 23, which the new one. I feel like if this game had the in-race mechanics that F1 does, this one would destroy that one. Because of the outside the race mechanics that you're going to get to see. That are, to me, better in that aspect. But, alright, this panel shows what's going on in the pit stop, including the progress of your fuel, tire, and condition work. If you see any of these icons, it means that your mechanics have made a mistake and that the pit stop is going to will take longer than planned. Let's hope that this goes off without a hitch. Yeah, so we get to see them do the thing. Also something, let me pause before I do anything. Something else I like better about this game that I would love to see in the next one that's combined, if they combine some of the F1 mechanics on the track. This is where this one wins. It shows me actively what is happening in the pit stop. So whether they screwed it up or not, it's easier to tell if my crew or my pit stop is what's costing me time or not. This will let me know if my crew is doing bad. So if they are, I know I need to hire some new people. is what I'm gonna say. So that's a good thing that at least Motorsport does a little bit better in that aspect. Yeah, and you see Gillian is completed. She's heading out to the track again. Alright, marvelous. The new tires are now fitted, as we can see. We can also check to see that the gearbox, yeah. And also, you can still check the condition of the car inside of Motorsport Manager. But, like I said, there are certain things that F1 shows about your driver, like their pacing. It shows their pacing better than this screen does. But some things they have the same. Spot on. That's much better. You can choose the condition panel by clicking condition button again for the panel to go away. Before our other driver starts feeling neglected, let's check on them. Looking, see, this is where it's different. So here's where the pacing, it's showing the pacing panel now. This is where I was talking about the minimalisticness of this panel. This shows my sector paneling. But the difference in this one, where F1 is better, is if I go into this, it actually shows me the times of each sector individually. Meaning, if I were to click on the sector panel in F1, it won't just show the colors, it'll show me each individual, like what the time on this sector was, what the time on this sector was, and what the time on this sector was. That part, F1 wins. I have to say F1 Manager does this part a little better. It's also preference. If you prefer minimalistic stuff better, then you would like that better. Then you would like this better. Because it shows the pacing of the car in first as well, and what you're behind it in. But F1 shows that part as well, so I can't dock it for that. So, but let's see. Looking at the sector time shows that how the lap is going. Each circuit is broken up into 3 sectors, represented by 3 dots. Those are not dots, 3 squares. Sometimes this is why I change wording on tutorials, because that might be a translation error or something, or I don't know what caused them to say dots when these are not dots. But who knows? Maybe a typo. Maybe just to the developer who made this, these are dots. I don't know. But represented by 3 squares. Which it says it here, which is why I think this is a typo. A white square means that they haven't beaten their best time. A green square means they've achieved a new personal best. While purple means they've driven the sector faster than any other driver on the track. And that's where I will say that's why the minimalisticness of this works, if you have your colors memorized. But you still, if you're like me and you're a maniac and you like to fine-tune every little thing, this isn't enough for me. I like to see the times as well, so I can make it even dumber and crazier how fast my driver is going. But that's just me. That's not a dock on this game. That's just me personally. If you prefer more detailed, F1 is better in this case. If you prefer minimalistic and just go by the colors, this one's better in that case. Alongside sectors is the pace. Shows how your driver's current lap compares at this point on the lap to the previous best, for example. Plus 0.593 indicates that your driver is currently slower than the best lap by over half a second. Negative Negative 2.41 shows that the driver is currently faster by over 2 seconds. So yeah, so what it's saying is this is how far behind. And this is where the minimalisticness kind of helps. And is a little bit better in the reverse towards Motorsport. Even though, once again, you can see this in the detail manual. The detailed panel that shows the same times as these as well. But as a more simpler thing is, so if you look at this, we're 3 seconds behind the leader, but my driver's pace is negative 0.457, which means this is how fast he's going to shrink this number. Or he or she is going to shrink this number and close the distance to that last leader's best. Each driver has form. Yeah, here's where the form part comes in. Once again, showing the difference between the minimalistic panel versus what you look at in the driver panel in F1. Each driver has form, which fluctuates throughout the race. The more consistent a driver is, the more stable their form will be. Happier drivers are more likely to have good form. So, let me pause and explain that and the difference. So this right here, you'll notice clicking the driver does nothing. Once again, where the difference in F1 is slightly better is the minimalistic this means. So let me bring up this tooltip real quick. Form measures how well the driver is currently driving. A driver with a form of 10 is driving to the utmost of their ability. So what this is affected by, where the minimalisticness comes in a little bit more, in this form versus the form of the driver in F1, is this all this is based on is driver setup and strategy and tires. If you can get them all in the good sweet zone, this will be really high. Like, this is pretty easy to get up. Like, you see how Gillian here, she's at a 5.4. So she's driving at over half of her utmost ability to drive that car. Which means she clearly prefers soft tires. Although her pace is kind of bad right now. But I think she just got back out not long ago. I can't remember which version. If I do this, is that what I want? Yeah. So, is it... I want to zoom out more. Where's the pit lane? Yeah, she hasn't been out of pit lane very long, so she's not picking up speed yet. Plus, I have her on a very neutral strategy. But because this game is, because the game is, what's it called? On tutorial, we're just going to keep it on that. What do these buttons do? That zooms in and out. That just turns it. What do these do? Just kind of testing things right now. Remember what all my buttons did. A lot of these buttons don't do anything, so I'll have to probably reassign them to shortcuts. Let's see. So let's go back to driver over here. You see, he got back to third pretty quickly. He is burning a lot of fuel, though. But the game hasn't told me to change this yet. And 0.21 is not bad. Can I look at this tooltip and it shows me? It does not. It just shows me how little I have right now. Yeah, she's still in 20th. I'm going to be a little bit more pushy with hers. We're going to go engine mode high. We're going to go orange instead of red-orange. I'm just going to play around a little bit. You'll notice her form dropped with me doing that. It's because now I'm having her push the car, so she's not driving quite at the same potential where yet he is. Now we get the main part of the game where we get to see what everything's going on. So, the minimap is a quirking way of seeing A corking way? I'm gonna say quicker. I think corking means quicker. I think that's slang for quicker. The minimap is a quicker way of seeing where the rest of your rivals are on the track. Tip, clicking on different drivers on the minimap will move the camera to them. Yep. That's something you cannot, I don't think, well no, yes you can. No, I take that back. Yes you can. You can do that on F1 as well. So that part's the same on F1 and this game. If you want to see the bigger picture, you'd better check out the standings widget. One other important part of this race weekend comes by the sponsor objective. If you manage to keep your sponsor objective, you will be rewarded with a nice pile of cash after the race. Tasty. So, we'll talk about that in a second, because that's not necessarily better or worse. Uh-oh, I can feel a few drops of rain in the air. Let's check the weather panel to see how bad it's going to get. So this panel is a double-edged sword, because this panel is both better and worse at the same time. So weather forecast. Blooming heck, looks like there's some rain on the way. What are the chances? You can look at that ahead of the race though. We can also see how much water is on the track by checking the water on track panel. So this shows us by what lap there's going to be water on the track and how much. This part it wins, because this is a little easier to read than the one on F1. We can also see how much water is in the track by looking at this panel. Since the rains are coming, we need to change our driver's tires to intermediates. Let's get your driver into the pit and put him on some inters. So we're going to pit our lead driver. Part of a manager's job is to react to the weather conditions, fitting the most appropriate tires for the situation that you find yourself in. Since it's going to start raining, we should put some intermediate tires on. Tip, use wet tires when there is a lot of water on the track. So you want intermediates. I'll leave the rest of the pit stop to you. Don't forget to check your car's condition. If the driver's battling for a position, you might want to check on your pit strategy. Parts look fine. Pit strategy. Because everyone else is going to have to pit, we're going to stay on safe. Wunderbar. A wunderbar. Wunderbar. Your driver should soon be on intermediate tires. That'll make a huge difference. You might want to change your second drivers too, but that's up to you. Let's wait till the rain starts a bit. Okay. Yeah, starting up. I'm going to let it get a little further. I'm going to pit here. Now I'm going to pit. Because they're going to go around. Actually, you know what? No, let's pit now because they're going around one more whole time. This might give her a chance to get some positions back. Park conditions are good. Pit strategy should be fine. Pit. Before she gets around there. Because the other drivers are going to have to pit and we're not now. They'll have a little bit longer on those tires, but actually, speaking of strategy, let's go back to neutral medium. Same thing here. Just because we don't want to burn through these tires very fast. We want them to have to pit, because they're going to have to. Because we're going to be much faster than they are. Alright, let me pause real quick and explain these menus now. So, yeah, you see that? So, my major thing now to show off is two things. So first, let's talk about this. Oh, it won't let me switch it, will it? Yeah, it will. Okay, so let's talk about this. This menu right here is probably the best thing compared to F1. F1's menu is similar, but it's a little bit more tedious to look at what you need to look at. So look at the regular standings one. Right here, you can see the gap of each driver in between each other. You can see the stops they've made, and you can see their tires all in one. Whereas in F1, you actually kind of have to go between these to see your gaps. And to see, like, their tire history and stuff like that. Whereas, or if you want to see their tire wear, like this right here, you do actually have to bring up and change your standings thing up here. There's a way to do it here as well, but, like, if I were to click this, all it's going to do is show that. Where if I click this, now it's going to show that, but only that. But you'll notice it always defaults back to this. So it's a good way to, like, see what's actually going on. You can check their speeds, what everyone's doing to push their cars. These all kind of have separate menus somewhat in F1. So as far as this menu is concerned alone, this one is a lot better. Now to this one. This one's kind of pointless, although I get why. So I don't see the point in having this, because you're going to get to see the weather changes and chances of weather ahead of time before you start the race. Now, this doesn't guarantee the weather, so this is probably why this is in Motorsport Manager versus the other one, is it gets to show you what lap the rain is really going to start on. So, as you can see, it started around lap 6, lap 5. This is helpful, and I'm thankful for it, but I can't use this and say this is necessarily, this is better than F1's version of this, because F1 just makes you kind of memorize it. It goes, hey, this is what the chances of rain are, this is what this is, try to make do. Whereas this menu right here, this is the menu where I'm going to give it to Motorsport. This one's not really useful, but because technically the irony is, what's the point of this one if you have this one? Because you can actively track how wet the track is. So it kind of actually makes this one not a point. Other than just you memorizing it before the race and hoping it's right. This is the one where I'll say Motorsport wins, because you get to see how exactly wet the track is going to be. An estimation, and you can decide what level of wet track tire that you need to maintain your efficiency. And then this is also something that's a little bit nicer, the easier to see and to check, is you can actually look at this on the fly and see what the track grip has become, or is going to become in the next 4 laps. And then data center, I want to bring this up. This isn't necessarily as good. The only thing this kind of helps with is it's a good overview of seeing what positions everyone has changed. So you can see we've changed drastically over the course of a certain amount of time for both drivers. So Gillian's gone from here to here, back down to here, and then stayed there for quite a while. She's been kind of stuck in 20th. Where my other driver, Vasily Pavel, goes up to here. Then he kind of holds this position for quite a while. Then he's dropping because I had to give him tires. And it does show that too, which is nice. Like, it'll show an icon for the pit once the pit is made. Which is nice. How do I get out of that? Oh, also the data center, much like F1, also shows pit stop history, gap to the leader. This part, they're basically the same. They read a bit differently. Like, this right here reads way differently. Like, the lap chart. The lap chart, I will say, is better in Motorsport Manager. Because you see how many things it talks about? Like, even the F1 one, it does some of this. Like, I think the things that it shows in the other one is this, this. Probably this, and this. And this. But it doesn't show the strategy chart. It doesn't track the water. I think it does track rubber, though. I think this is there. This is there. I think this is roped in with these. So these three are technically not there because they're combined with these. And then top speed and events, which is also in F1. So this one is slightly easier to read because it's all in one menu. And you can check if you want to show flags in the progress of the race. This is the race's overall happenings and what's been going on. So you can see right here, pit stop event, stuff like that. And if you want, you can turn these on. And you'll notice now it'll start adding bars to show you the level of everything as well. So this data center menu, super detailed. Super detailed. And then, of course, live timings, tire history. So you can see like how many laps they lasted and what they did on them. Tire selection. So a huge overview of what each team and driver went with tire selection wise before practice and race day. Commentary feed. This isn't that important. I'm not going to count this because this is something that should be at the bottom right, which it is. So neither have a negative or a positive here. Standings, same there, and then event results, same there. So you can see your qualifying results, your practice results from what the game gave us, and these will be calculated after the race. I tend to keep it on this one, just because it's simpler and quicker to go into and see what's going on. But okay. Continuing on. So yeah. Gillian is still not making no time. She must not be that great of a driver. I would have to look at her stats after this. If we were gonna continue this as a campaign. I don't think I'm gonna for this playthrough, but this is more of, like I said, a comparison video. But yeah, I feel like Gillian is just not pulling her weight. Although I didn't get to do her setup either. I would have to give her one more race. Yeah, because now we're gonna get to see the driver traits. So this is where I'll get to see at least why she's doing so terrible. Drivers can be delicate souls, so it's always useful to see what's affecting their race performance. Hovering over the clipboard shows currently what is impacting them. So, she doesn't have any bone modifiers, so that automatically kind of makes her a bad driver. Because the modifiers in this game are slightly different in how they work with drivers. Stonking job so far. The rest of the race is up to you. Have a click around to get some points on the board. Good luck. So now it's in our hands fully. So now, because she's not getting anywhere, I'm actually going to have her push. Because I'm having a little issue with her actually, her catching up. And a lot of people have pitted, so she should be getting more thing. Now, this is what I was going to say. This is the only reason why you would ever care to let her out. You actually don't want to let your drivers out in clean air. This is a good example of clean air and dirty air are not compensated for in this game. Is that in the actual race day, you actually want to let your driver out on the position of the pit where you want to try to let them not get stuck back here. Because now she's going to have to chase everyone and hope the ones that pit stay in pit long enough. Which is why I'm going to have her push now. Because the water on the track seems to be going to change back again. That's also something in this game that's a bit different. Whoa, I had some frame drop, but that was on my end. That's a bit different. Is, ooh, there we go. But yeah, that is something that is a little bit different. Like, you see how it's drying up pretty quick. So now I'm going to have to pull them in again. We'll push them on a little longer, but I don't want to have to wait too long to pit my main driver. Because Gillian's just not going to make it. She's not going to make it anywhere on this track, I don't feel like. So I'm going to actually have you push then. We should go on attack and high. Yep, someone just wrecked. So we're having some pits. Let's have him pit. Let's have him get a fresh pair of softs. Park condition, getting kind of down there, but we're doing decent. I think the one that would need it the most is the nose at some point. But we're good there. Pit strategy. Let's take some... It's a low risk. Let's take some risks. And go with balanced and have him pit. Well, Pavel is definitely our better driver. Gillian's starting to catch some people. Oh, dilemma. What exactly is the logic about... I am aware. The drivers will give you tips, but you're sometimes better off ignoring them. Because they may not be that good of a driver and may not understand the finer points as well. So we'll give her some softs as well. Her nose is getting a bit iffy, and so is her gearbox again. So she has a terrible gearbox. Pit strategy, we'll go with balanced. We'll take the risk and pit. Yo, Farseer, I finally made it. Also, I bring Overwatch 2 news. Encrypted the character files for some strange reason. But it only lasted for, well, I'll be generous, say 2 weeks because the animator's gonna... Wow! For some weird reason, I wonder why they did that. No, but either way, I mean, no offense to Blizzard. Like, when it comes to Blizzard in general, like, as a company, it's like, eh. So... them protecting their character files is the least thing they need to be doing. You know, how about your employees? Who cares about the character files? Oh, mistake was made, but that's alright. Frame drops are kind of happening on my end a little bit. I do think giving OBS administrative purposes does kind of tank my game's performance a little. A little. But it's okay, because that just means, let's go down to an orange. Yeah, he overtook a few drivers. We'll let him fight on orange, see if we can get some positions. I don't have to win in a certain place for this. Him being in the top 10 is good enough. And his pace is really good right now, so... we also got a lot of heat on the... hold on. We've got a lot of heat on our tires. I'm going to go to neutral. Because with the tires being that hot, they're actually going to have really good grip. So. Same thing here. Back down to neutral. Hope Gilligan can get some positions. Oh, she got 19th at least. She's... Oh, well, she had it. But she'll be near the 19th car, so she might be able to get some positions. I bet they done it to stop the anti-bots, LOL. Also, 13 more dead. That's exactly why, Tam King. That's the joke she was making. That Farseer was making. That I wonder why they did that. I wonder what the internet might have done to cause this. Who knows? Let's see. Also, 13 more days until Bannerlord on console. I know, Farseer. I may be a little late, but I am going to get it on console and we're going to play it on the channel. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Tam King's going to be getting it too, I think, at some point. Whenever he can, like down the line when I think it goes on sale. Unless you're getting it on day one, Tam King. I don't know if you're doing that or not. But James will have it at some point as well. So we're going to be doing a lot of cool Bannerlord stuff on console. I may be a little late to the party because I've got to make sure I save money for our Halloween special first. I got to get our Halloween special game first. And if I have enough on the day and I know all my funds are okay by the time it gets here, I will try to have it if I can. But we'll see. Like I said. Pavel over here is not very good at conserving tires. He's kind of terrible at it, actually. Then you need to go down the green, my dude. Jeez. Look at the tire temps on his tires. They're super hot. And they're not going down like hers is. I like where hers is. Hers is at the perfect sweet zone, I feel like. I would have her. I should probably, though, since he's going down to green conserve, we should have him go down to a medium on fuel as well. Because he's going to run out of fuel at this rate. She can stay on orange a little bit longer. Yep, they're fighting for... Pavel is fighting for... he lost some positions because I slowed him down. But I need to conserve some fuel. Start building up some fuel for the final laps, which... I forget how to tell what lap it is. There it is. So we got 10 laps. We should hold off. He's also going to have to change his tires soon again. You know what, hold on, let me pause. Some other people are running on some really low softs. So we should pit him again. We gotta go for 8 to 10 laps. We'll start him off on conserve on the tire, and then we'll run it deep once we get towards the end of the... once there's less laps. So soft. We want to really... fix his nose. That might be also why he's having problems. Take the safe strategy. I don't want no risks, hardly. It's going to take 11 seconds. That's not bad. I'm going to do that now. What's your condition of your car? Yeah, you're going to have to come in too, because I'm in that. Both are having problems. We're going to have to be very careful. We might have to run them on yellow from now on. So I'm going to go run medium. This affects the wear and tear on your car, where this affects the wear and tear on your tires. So we're going to go neutral there. I'm going to run her for one more lap. I know, ignore. Alright, one more lap. Because I need to pull you in after him, because he's our lead driver. He needs to go in first. Get his good tires now. We'll keep him on conserve on tires for now. Let everyone else start pitting. I will, however, have him push his car now that I've had him do that. And Gillian, I need you to always allow teammate through. Come on, guys. Alright, now we're pitting. We're going to pit her now. Soft. Park condition. The nose is a little bit worse for wear. Pit strategy safe. 11 seconds. She's in last, so I'm going to take more risks with her. Okay. Let's see, Mike, the football manager is now on top of my list, LOL. I'll definitely get Banner Lord at some point, though. I mean, the multiplayer custom servers are the best last game I was a part of. Had close to 250 people. My squad considered 30 people sneaking through a wheat field to flank an enemy. That's actually pretty smart. That's pretty awesome. That's what I love about multiplayer games like that more than others. Is just because they're really, really good in that aspect. Alright, let's conserve. We need to hold off until we see them start pitting. Then I'm going to start cranking it up. Some people went on hard tires, so they're going to end up probably outlasting us. Whose pace was a little bit better? He went a little faster right there. Okay, Surikov is... Oh, alright, now it's time to start pushing. Let's go to neutral. With both tires. His feel is still a little lackluster. I really can't push him yet. Is there still... Well, I mean... He's got 5 laps of fuel left on yellow. Yeah, now we can push it. He should make it. You have plenty of fuel. We're actually going to put you on red. Wait, was it? Shit. If I pitch you, you're never gonna win this. You will not get back to top 10. Because hard tires last... I forget how long. If these are 10 laps, conservatively, they're definitely gonna make it. You're gonna have to ignore that and hope the car don't blow up. This is why, technically, we're going to be... If we were doing a real campaign on this, yep. Ignore it. I can't do anything about it. I am going to take you off of red, though, now that you're having problems. You're going to have to go back down. You're not going to ever get out of 20th. So I'm actually going to put you on safety mode. Put you low. I have to let Pavel push it to try to get that position back. I hope you guys get modded multiplayer servers. That would be nice. I hope there's mods too. They're becoming more and more common on consoles now, but it isn't technically guaranteed whether we get them or not. So Pavel's just stuck in the back now. To be fair, we changed tires too many times during the beginning of the race, is what put us back here, as far as Pavel is concerned. I wouldn't have changed my tires that many times, just because I don't see the point. His pacing is still pretty bad. I think it's just because his engine is doing terrible. Yeah, the parts are pretty bad on these cars, so I don't expect them to outlast the race. They seem to be pretty good stats, but their durability is terrible. Ignore, we don't have a way of pitting. Yeah, he ain't gonna catch him, so I'm gonna put on conserve. Yes, I know your parts are getting dodgy. Alright, well, enough of that then. You need to at least finish the race. Damn, that sucks. Last lap. Damn, that sucks. He's driving a pretty good performance for how terrible the car is doing, though. You know what's funny? Y'all get to see it slightly better than I do. Like, there's a little bit of choppiness when I'm watching it, but y'all don't see that, which is quite amazing. I love that. I love that y'all actually get to see this, other than when it really drops frames on my end. Y'all get to see this in properly this time. Same thing with Warhammer. Whoa, Pavel, don't blow the engine out. Yeah, he lost. He went to 19th. It's alright. I didn't really expect us to do better than that, to be fair. I like that it has everything in my colors of my team. It saves in purple and everything. So yeah, this is what now you can look at all the standings and everything that happened. So lap charts. You can see we were all over the place. Pavel was doing so good until that last section, but that's because his car, I think, wore out. But you can see if you highlight this, look at all the different stats it tells you of what happened during that specific lap. Lap 18, position 19, his sector speeds, the total lap speed, compound, tire wear, tire temp, fuel, strategy I was using, the flag, the track, the rubber. So good. This menu is so good at this. But alright. Let us, yeah, and you can see what's her name kind of went, like, all the way across the same way. Like, we select her, we can see her on this list as well. She did slightly better in some cases, but not in many. But let's continue to the next part of the tutorial. Oh yeah, also after, something you cannot do, I don't think in F1, but you can do in this, which is really unusual. You can kind of use illegal parts if you are good enough at keeping it within the minimum, but also keeping I guess keeping on the down low, you can actually use modified parts that aren't exactly up to code when it comes to the racing league. That's what the scrutineering is. After every race, there is a scan of every car or a check of every car to see if they were cheating. You can see we didn't really make anything. It wasn't really that good. So, pretty decent. Team standings, probably pretty terrible. Yeah. Yeah, pretty terrible. Most of us did pretty terrible, though. These bottom four are the only ones that really matter in the beginning when you're trying to learn how to race. And then, yeah, you can see all the different people. This is like a message thing to tell from the fans and your crew, and they tell you things and say different things about the race. Yeah, see, there was one for us that Pavel did so good. He did get a little bit. He did get a little bit of notice, so he got us a little bit of clout, not much. So far, my new internet I've changed to, though, seems to be doing pretty good. Alright, here we go. Now we get to see the part that this game, to me, wins the most. The menu you can see is very much the same as F1, but there are certain things in each of these menus that's slightly different that do kind of make it, in a way, a little bit better. At least when it comes to outside the race, anyways. Like I said, F1 to me is better inside the race, to a certain extent, whereas this game is better outside the race. So welcome back to your base of operations. This is where you will develop your car, sign new drivers, and manage everything that goes into the efforts at a race weekend. The side of the screen, this side of the screen shows you an overview of your drivers as well as your chairman's happiness level. You can roll over your driver's icons to see an overview of their stats. Yeah, see, 10 for above season objective on target. So we can be in dead last and still be okay. That's what happened. That's what choosing that one at the very beginning when we chose the different offers, low pressure, medium pressure, high pressure, that's what determines this. Along with the other objectives they kind of require you to do. This side of the screen, already read that. So next. If the chairman's happiness reaches rock bottom, you might find yourself out of a job. Keep your chairman happy, on the other hand, and you may be seeing a little more money to spend. This graph shows where your team stands in relation to the rest of the teams in the championship. If a bar reaches the top of the graph, it means that your team is the best in that area. Getting these bars up to the top is not everything, but it will give you the best chance of success come race day. Here you can get a glimpse of which race is coming up next, and also check the current standings. Motorsport teams compete on two fronts: the Drivers' Championship to find out which individual is the best, and the Team's Championship. Let's check out where your team stands at the moment. Click on Teams. The Team's Championship is where your prize money comes from at the end of the season. So it's arguably more important than the Driver Championship. Tip: for detailed information on the standings and the calendar, check out the standings screen. This panel also shows what work is currently going on around the team. It's empty. I think we're going to have to do something about that. The continue button is flipping important. Click on it to take you to any unread mails or items around the team which may need urgent attention. Let's give it a try. Welcome to the mail screen. This is where you will find out what your team have been up to, as well as updated on what's happening around the paddock. You will also often receive mail from journalists who want your opinion on current events. And you can also use these buttons up here to move up or down in your inbox. Click the up button 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also click on the emails themselves directly. Developing your car is one of the most important parts of being a manager. Let's head over to the car and see what to improve. This is your car. Pretty, ain't it? I mean, I designed it, so yeah. Your car is rated in different ways. 2 different ways. First, we have the car stats, which change every time you build a new part or develop your car. Yeah, look at how terrible this car is. Like, this just goes to show you, if you do the tutorial, you don't get as many customizable options in the very beginning. But I think when you choose low pressure, you also get a pretty terrible car anyways. So, your car is ranked on 6 different stats: top speed, acceleration, deceleration, and low, medium, and high speed corners. You can also see the overall rankings of your car. Getting those bars to the top is the name of the game. The chassis stats and suppliers are decided at the end of each season, where you get to dictate the look and feel of your car. You don't have to worry about that for a good few months, though. Yeah, so what I was saying, you start with a predetermined, depending on the pressure or difficulty you went, a predetermined frame or chassis that you have to use, and you can build it up later and have other things. And then, of course, the main thing at the end of the season is to have the best stat one, but then choose a new main chassis to determine the next season car stats. Designing new parts for cars makes a difference between the average team and a good one, and we want to be the best. Click on Design New Car Part, or Design New Part. You have the choice between 6 parts, each with an impact on a different stat on the car. And if one of your parts is lagging behind the rest, maybe it's time to build a new one. Each race favors different stats. You can see which parts are going to be crucial in the next race. See, and that's something also, we're going to go over this in more detail in a second, of why this, to me, all of these menus are better than F1 in that fashion. Each race favors different stats. You can see which parts are going to be crucial to the next race. Developing those parts should give you an upper hand in the race day. So, given that that this part is crucial to the next race, I think it's time to build a new one is a good idea. So we want brakes. Each part essentially boils down to 2 elements: performance, e.g. high-speed corners, how good that part is doing at its job; reliability, how long it will last in the race. Tip: lead designers have stats for each part, which are added to each part's starting performance value. Each part also has a maximum performance level, the second number EG/60. This number is defined by the improvability of your car, which is a chassis stat, as you can see, seen on the car screen. You can then improve the performance of your parts in part development, which we'll talk about later. Likewise, each part has a max reliability, 2 capped at 100%. This is a slot which gets filled with components, the building blocks of any part. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at them. Okay, so before I continue, this part I'm going to explain now because this might be a bit confusing to come back to it later. Okay, so in F1, when you're building a new part, you really just kind of determine the price of the part, the strategy the engineer is going to have as it builds the part, and stuff like that, and that kind of determines the quality of the part depending on the what you put into it and how much money and this and that. Now here it's a bit different. It's still money. That's still a big part of it, how much money you put into it. But the one thing that this game does differently, so you'll note there's 3 different little things I can choose, and let's go through that as he does. Here we are. A lovely assortment of components. When you add one to a slot, it will boost your part's stats. So like I said, the other one's more determined on the rare, like the percentage of the stat and the money into the stat, the percentage and decency of the lead designer in the other one, which you can tell our lead designer in this one is terrible. But you just determine it by that, and that determines the overall effectiveness and how good the part is. Plus, just like the other one, you determine reliability. So if you want more reliability or more performance. Here it's a bit different, but similar. But I'll give it this more detailed. So if you want to specifically give a part something that it needs, or something that you might rather have on that part versus other parts, you can change it based on what you choose in each of these little sections. Now, you can only choose one of each of these sections, and each section is unlocked every time you build a new part from the previous one. So our current parts are like gray. They're like a gray level common. They don't do anything. They're not good. We have to choose one of these and then build this part as an average. And then we take the average part and we turn it into something even bigger. So you'll see what that means as time goes on. As you're making your first part of the season, you see you can only currently have access to average parts. To unlock more powerful sets, simply build another part of this type. So to point out. So build a green part to get a blue part. Build another blue part to get a purple part accessible. The common components in this column are specific to the designer, which our designer is terrible, so there is not one. So this is something where the designers are very important in this game. They actually give you, depending on the designer itself, an extra choice that you can use on whatever you're doing when you build a new part of the car. So we'll read it in here. Designer components. The components in this column are specific to the designer. They cost no money. Note that. These cost money. These 3 choices right here, these are standard random choices and they cost money. They cost no money and they add no time to the part. However, if your designer leaves, they'll take their components with them. On the other hand, signing a new designer might come in handy. So make sure before you do this, before you use one of these choices, that you're going to keep the lead designer for this team or for this setup. Every driver, by the way, gets their own engineer. Like, you can manually assign a designer to both different drivers, which is also what makes that different than F1, where F1 is one major lead designer of every department. So aero wing department, stuff like that. Whereas this, it's more of the lead designer is tied to the drivers. Risk of rule breaking, of course. This is also what tells you whether your part is breaking the rules or not. Now, You see how this says risk level? That's what this does. If you want to get a really good skill, you do this one. The one that has these explanation marks. But this adds to this. So there's a chance after the race you get flagged for cheating when you do that. And that's the part I was talking about earlier that's a bit different. Some components can increase the risk of breaking the rules. These are usually very powerful components. If you go for a risky component, there's a chance that you'll get away with it. Scrutineering, which comes after the race, defines whether or not you get caught. Sometimes bending the rules is a bit worth it. Okay, now it's time to make your choice. Click on one of the components. So, we're having a problem with tire wear right now. Do we want that first, though? I actually think we want to get the reliability of the first part up. Well, no, it's a green, right? Yeah, we want it to be reliable. So we're gonna, since this is a cheapie, it's an average, we're only gonna focus on something safe and something simple. So reliability. Now you'll notice this opened up. We cannot do this yet. The next time we build another part, now that we're building a green part, we'll get to build a blue part, if you get what I mean. So you always have to build at least one green part first, then you can build a blue part, then you can build a purple part, and then so on and so forth. Good choice, the slot has been filled. Now you'll notice also each color gets more slots. So a blue gets 2 slots. A dark blue gets 3 slots of choices. A purple gets 4 slots of choices of components. And of course an orange gets 5 choices of components. And this is how you start stacking your car to be ridiculous. As you've added a component to the part, its level has improved to average. And the stats of the part have been improved to reflect any of your choices. So yeah, so it's going to go up to a 601, 625 performance thing. So you can actually make this better by improving parts as well. So let's say you don't want to build a new part right now and you don't want to waste a ton of money. I will say though, in your first season, you really do want to try to work on building parts over improving parts, because as you can see, even with the easier starting, with where you don't get as much funding out the gate because you're not taking as many risks, you still get 40 mil. So you really want to spend majority of your balance in the first season building better overall parts that you can take with you into next season, so you win more, so you can have a better chance to have higher standings in the leaderboard. So components unlocked. You can now see good components which you'll be able to use when you build your next part of this type. When you build a third part of this type, you'll unlock great components and so on and so forth. The build time and costs have been updated to show you below. So it'll tell you how long it's going to be. And it tells you something else that this menu also I love does. It tells you how long you have before the race. So whether this part will actually be done before the race or not, or if you're going to have to actually use it in the race after. So we're actually going to be running on still pretty poor parts for the next race if we were to do the next race. All that's left is to get the design going. You'll have to stomach the cost, I'm afraid, though. Yeah, I already know. This pop-up will let you know whenever you are receiving or sending money. If you would like to get a full breakdown of your current financial situation, check out the finance screen. Let's confirm the payment. Yep. Woohoo! You're designing a new part. But it's going to take a few days. Let's get time ticking on a bit, so we can see what to do when the part is finished. So technically it skipped a race. Because it said I had 5 days before the next race. So that means technically that means we missed that next race. Either that, or the game has paused the race time just to show this off. Which is probably what it did. So now, huzzah! We finished the building a new parts. Let's fit it to one of your cars. Well, here we are. The place where you decide which parts you're taking to the race. Let's check out which parts are available. This list shows you all the parts in your factory. As you add more, this list is going to get pretty hefty. You can see the current performance and condition levels of every part. The car icon indicates which part is fitted to which car. This also shows you, this is also how you assign parts to different drivers. So purple is car 1, gold is car 2. Let's get that lovely new car fitted on car 1. So we're giving it to Pavel automatically. Understood. Auto pick and clear. You can auto fit parts by clicking on these buttons if the mood so takes you. I don't like doing that. It's terrible. Let's close the list and take a look at the cars. There it is. There's your beautiful new part on board the car. This graph is a great way to compare the driver's cars. The purple colored area refers to car 1. The orange area refers to car 2. So yeah. Overall performance hasn't really changed much. Let's have a look at the reliability graph. See, right now, I will say, where'd that brakes go? Yeah. You'll notice orange cars now doing better in reliability because the original part has better reliability but not good performance. So reliability, our brakes are actually kind of less now with the average part because it hasn't been upgraded yet. But it is, however, gonna have way overall better performance. Snazzy. Now we can see the reliability graph, which tells us which car is better in condition. You can check out what your drivers are thinking about here. Yeah, this will tell you if they're good. It's overall content is still a little rubbish because the car is terrible. But he's content because I gave him at least some sort of a better part now. Okay, now you know how to design new parts and then fit them to your car. Incredible. Is that it? Let's go to the mail again. We're gonna run through these. Sources close. Okay, that's fine. That's someone retiring. Car repair. Look who's repairing our car! Irony! Although I'm gonna see if I can find a driver though. Because I think she would be a driver. But then again, who knows? Maybe she would be a mechanic. She's got terrible stats though. We might have to find someone that looks like this character but has better stats. She's got terrible stats. Like, terrible stats. But, okay. Alright, report on upcoming race in Yokohama. Hi, Jared. I've prepared a brief report on the next race in the calendar of Yokohama. It will be 32 lap race. The lap lengths are 3.14 miles. The lap record is 1 minute and 38 seconds. There is likely to be some rain during the race, with Sunday showing 35% of chance of rain. So that's decently high. Doesn't mean it will, but it could. The corners around the circuit are mostly average speed, which should give you an edge to any cars with good suspension. Always read these, by the way. It's something I like about the emails in this one better than I do. Like I said, outside the race, to me this game overall just delivers a better experience. Because this is something the emails in there don't really tell you this much in detail. Like, it's telling you, it's even giving you a hint saying, You might want to focus your suspension for this next race if you really want to be good at it. Especially the speed of the corners. And it tells you, I think, the driver who has the best... Yeah, it tells you the driver who currently has the best setup for this, too. The tire compound choice for this race are between super soft, soft, and medium. Because it's a short track. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a fairly good track for tire wear. And our car is pretty excellent at that. So we should be able to make the tires last. That's all from me. If you have any other queries, I would suggest consulting the calendar. So, wind tunnel. Alright, wind tunnel. Rina Matsura, lead designer. To be honest, it's quite embarrassing to work at an HQ without a wind tunnel. When are we going to bite the bullet and stump up some of the cash for one? It'll help us so much when it comes to designing new front wings and understanding the airflow of the car better. So yeah, these emails are so much more adaptive. Like, it's telling me, okay, to make my front wings parts overall better when they get designed at our factory, I need a wind tunnel to test them, to help with testing. Brakes finished, so there's the brakes. Reliability, 65% out of 100, 601 out of 125, or 625, which we'll go back to the car screen in a second to show the difference in that. Average. And that's it for emails. Okay, so real quick, let's go back to the cars. I do want to go to fit the parts so y'all can see what I mean. So, brakes. They're not totally better. You'll notice that the performance is about the same. But you'll notice this only goes to 610 upgraded. Better reliability overall right now. But that's because it was probably worked on. So overall can only go to 610 performance, where this can go to a 625 performance. So this has more longevity as a part, if you get what I mean, performance-wise. And technically, reliability. It's not far off what this one was. With like a couple days of improvement to the part before the race, this would actually get pretty high. So to show y'all like how the car actually behaves differently and what things look like. Now let's go to the next screen I need to show y'all. The HQ tab, which there's another tutorial. Fantastic. So welcome to the headquarters. This is your team's base of operations. By improving existing buildings and building new ones, you can improve the overall quality of your team. Now this part I haven't got to do much of in F1, so I'm going to compare the things I only know already. The other things I'm going to have to wait till I play another stream of F1 and we start to actually build up the facility in F1 as well, to see what the differences are detail-wise there. You can upgrade buildings until they hit a maximum level. Upgrading them will increase your team's knowledge in that area. So if you want to max out your team, you better get upgrading. Let's have a look at which buildings you can upgrade. So yeah, these are the buildings you currently have. You also see how expensive these are. This is where the money can kind of tank. So only buy the buildings you're going to work on the most in the beginning first season. These are the buildings you currently have. You can also see whether or not you can upgrade them. By clicking any building here, you will get more information on what they will gain, on what it will gain by upgrading that building. If you want a new building, you can click on the new buildings button. That's it for the headquarters. You should now be able to upgrade your existing buildings and buy new ones. So we're going to look at this then. Is it you? Yeah, so this is what she was referencing. In that email it said we need a wind tunnel, right? So it means that the design center is missing a wind tunnel when you're designing new parts. So it was a hint to tell the CEO, hey, our design center building needs some upgrades. And as you can see in the next upgrade, we do get a better wind tunnel. We get a simulator, handling development center, 50% tour center, and 50% helipad. This means we can start working towards the tour center and working towards the helipad. Same thing here. this is where the car is. So this is the factory. So this is where the car is built, repaired, and tweaked before flying off to the races. Upgrading the factory helps towards unlocking new buildings. So if we do it here, we get plus 10 development part development staff, which means we get parts are built faster in less days. Extra part improvement slots. So you get extra choices. Telemetry center, test track, brakes R&D facility. So that would improve the brakes testing facility. 50% tour center and 50% helipad. I think we would do this because we're upgrading. No, what are we upgrading right now? The next thing that we would want to be built is the wings. So we'd probably buy this first, unless we wanted to go for cornering. Then we would worry about more brake control. That's user preference. Neither of these is more important than the other. They both are going to help you make your car better overall in different areas. So, and of course, new buildings. We can get a forecasting center. This improves your chance of knowing exactly how the weather is going to be before a race, obviously. Scouting facility. This unlocks more and more better drivers that you can scout for hiring. Staff center. The staff center helps your lead designer and race mechanics to improve their skills. It also allows the drivers to better their fitness and focus. So what this does is this improves stats and focus and certain things on the drivers and the staff. And you can upgrade it and it starts doing more and more different things. This is a way to take a bad staff member and make them into a better one. And then of course all the specific places. Brakes R&D facility gets unlocked. So these are all the buildings that get unlocked that you saw over here in the upgrades. So upgrading this allows me to build a wind tunnel, which is right here. See? And it would take 20 weeks to build it. So you really want to specify what parts you want to be known for before you start choosing which buildings you want to go when you're spending, because you can see how expensive it can get. Like, quite expensive. This may seem like a lot of money, but it is not. And you can see we're actually making income cost per race is actually negative $1 million. Now, of course, you're going to get funding from the race that offsets that. But you definitely don't want to overspend. Or you'll find yourself in a bad situation. So, next. Now we want to go to team. So, here's the team. The chairman, which is K. Kruger. If that had been an F, I'd have been really scared. But, you can sell our marketability. This is how much money your team can make, depending on how famous they are. This is us. This is us as team principal. So the leader of the team, the manager, the team manager, job secure right now. And you can see the level of each of our drivers, our designers. It seems that our mechanics and our designer kind of bad. Well, I meant to say mechanics are assigned to drivers, not designers. So one of our mechanics is her, so yeah. This determines how fast the pit crews get changed out. Along with this. Now I'm going to show you something kind of hilarious. So, no, not that one, this one. This is what I want. So notice this right here. This is where the big difference in Motorsport Manager versus F1 comes in. In F1, you cannot, at least not that I know of, do something like this, where you individually put every single member of your pit crew. So the people who jack up the car, the tire person, or all the tire people, the repair person, stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, who handles fuel? forget how you know who does refueling. None of them are highlighted. Oh, because we don't have certain races you're not allowed to refuel anyways. Right. So I would have to see that once it happens. But yeah, you want to hire out people, fire out. We're not going to do it on this one. Once again, this is just a first look because we're not going to do the next race tonight or at all on this playthrough. We're going to do another one later. I might keep this for our playthrough and we just have fun with it. But we're not going to do anything tonight with it. Like make any changes. Because what I would normally do through here is I go through each of these and I go in here and I go into higher and I try to get some averages that are not too high because you don't want to spend too much money on certain pit crews, but you want to have like an average. Like this guy right here, this is a good one. S Burns. Like we're gonna go ahead and hire him right now just because that's a good one. Now you'll notice how much it takes because you pay their salary up front. So we would go ahead and hire that. Just because the more we have, the better. Overall. We'll hire one more because you want to have at least a couple of reserves. Let me look. Hold on. Let me go back. So our reserves, we don't have a good... We have a good fixing now. Let's just try to look for people kind of good across the board. They have like... So kind of like this. This is kind of terrible, but this is at least he's good at something everywhere. So hire this guy. And you'll see we have him in recovery now. So you see how this guy's having a hard time. He's a tire changer, right? So let's go with Wallace here. Nope. How do I do that again? It's been a while. I want to swap you with you. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm going ahead and showing this off, each of your pit crew members has a stamina. The more you keep them doing every race, the less efficient they're going to be each race. You see how he's a 35 out of 70. So this person would have been really tired and probably would have made mistakes. As you can see, they did make a mistake. That's the guy who made a mistake in the last race. So he might have already been at this a little higher than this stat and went even lower. So that's why he made a mistake during the race. So the pit crews are very, very customizable. Very customizable. Since the next race won't be too important for us either, it'll just be it for us to earn money. There's not really a point to change all these out right now. Just have a couple of reserves who are decent at everything. And maybe some that are really good at certain things. Like, these two are going to be rear jacks. Completely. Like any of these three, if I need a rear jack person, I'm always going to choose one of these three. Because they're an 8. So same thing here. This guy's going to be prioritizing front jacks. This person who is in the wrong spot. Hold on one second. I don't like that. Okay, that bothers me. Because this makes more sense. Rear jack 8. Now I have one of the left side tire people doing a better setup. Because this is both the left side tire people, front back. So my front left side tire is going to be changed real fast. The front jack is also terrible. Do we have a better option? We do. So our jack manipulators are now pretty good. So they're actually going to be pretty fast to getting the car up and down for maintenance. So you would do stuff like that to kind of show off an example of how to do that. You can also do auto manage options if you want and set it up like in different ways where it will know to swap out certain people. I don't do that. I always remove the fatigue people myself and change them out for whatever's in my reserve. So, alright, next is scouting. So, we'll go back to drivers in a minute. The scouting screen is a place you search for new members of staff. You can scout out potential new drivers, mechanics, and designers here. So this part's, I'm going to skip through this part somewhat. We're going to read the tutorial, but this part is no different. This part is overall the same thing as Motorsport. I mean, as F1 22. So this is a whopping list of all the drivers your team currently knows about. To get the biggest pool of drivers to choose from, upgrade your scouting facility at the HQ. These filters are really helpful when you want to narrow down your search. So yeah, designers, race mechanics, whatever you're looking for. Ability, team, da-da-da. You can also sort the scouting list by clicking on the column headers. All drivers have different ability levels. This represents their current stats. You can also see a driver's potential, which shows how much they can improve over their career. So yeah, so we can now kind of see the rough estimate of all these different drivers, what they're good at driving, contracted status, and stuff like that. Now we can't see everything until we scout them. We can only get a rough estimate by looking at the stats and seeing how good they may be. Like, he's pretty neutral and easy. We might be able to hire someone like Adrian here. I doubt we would ever be able to hire what's his name of Windsor Racing. But what we want, how do we... Doesn't seem to be... Trying to find the ones that don't have a team. I'm pretty sure there's a way for unassigned. This is the part that I might be confusing with the other one. Yeah, okay, here we go. They're always at the bottom. So these are the drivers we would want. These are the easier ones to get because these are not working for any of... They're unemployed. They're not working for any of the other race teams right now. See, that's a really good early one. So we're actually going to scout out this guy, probably. See, that's a good early one, too. Ooh. We're going to scout out this one. Let me see if there's any others that look like that. Nope. We're going to scout out Sarah Thomas here. Because, remember what I said, I want her to also have a driver potential as well. Because I would like to have her as a driver more than a mechanic. So, since I'm the manager and can't be the driver. So we're going to scout out Sarah Thomas here. We can scout out 3 people. Did you say something, Mom? No. We're going to scout out this guy. We're just going to put a couple of them in the docket. I also want one that's kind of low level. Scott Price. Okay. So those are all the people we're scouting out right now. We're going to scout out a bunch of drivers, because drivers are going to be the most important thing in the beginning. Okay. So that's scouting. We'll go back to that in a minute. Let's go back to staff. Yeah, see, you can also go into your staff area, and for your mechanics and your designer, and you can scout them directly from here to look for other applicants. You can also compare them to others, like I'll click this to show it on the designer as an example. Welcome to the comparison screen. Here you can see different members of your staff. Compare different members of your staff to each other. You can also compare them to other team staff as well, not just your team. This area shows all the info of for the number of staff we have selected to compare against. This area will show the member of staff you are comparing to. For now, it's just displaying a list of staff you can choose from. Click the compare button on one of them to see click the compare button on one of the staff to begin comparing. Yeah. So like, since we don't have any other designers we've hired, we can't compare to ours. But if we do this, we can compare and see these are the stuff they're known for. Yeah, like build time. These are the things that the designer brings with them to your team when you're building parts. And you can approach the designer directly from here if you know you can give them a better deal. Because you can look, brake clause, you would have to pay hello, Mau. Hi. My cat's on my tray. If the stream ends accidentally, it's because he's up here chilling. But, like right here, you can see if to break this dude's claws with the people he's working with right now, I'd have to pay him $4,689,000 straight up just to get him to quit his team. Now, Alex, stop. Alex, stop. Good boy. But yeah, you would have to pay him $4,600,000 straight out the gate just to get him to break his contract with his current person. I figured out how to go back now. But that's a good way to find out what you need. Like, compare to stuff, find out, like, actually, I want to see something. Can we compare to people who are not on a team? No, just the other. Okay. So we would have to hire one to compare them. Like here, you can compare both of, like, I can compare both of my mechanics to each other and see who's doing better and who needs to be assigned to what car. Now to the drivers. Welcome to the driver screen. This is the place to be if you want to see more about your drivers. Here you can see all of your drivers and some of the basic information about them. The buttons will allow you to look at an in-depth stat of them to compare them with other drivers. Here we have a comparison of your two drivers' results in the session so far, so that you can see which one is coming out on top. The driver's contract details is very important to your spending. You can also see various options to do with your contract. The reserve driver is a backup to your main two drivers. You can use the reserve driver in practice, which allows them to develop their skills. If you are having problems with one of your drivers, perhaps you might want to promote your reserve driver to a race seat. You can click on the driver details button or on the driver portrait to see more information about the driver. So yeah, driver details, the driver screen. If you want to find out everything you can about a driver, you're in the right place. This area shows you all of the driver's basic info like their age, nationality, and overall ability. Let's favorite this driver. This can be incredibly helpful when finding or comparing drivers later on. And Pavel does have a really good set of stats. This is actually pretty good. This explains why he did so good in the race. These stats are what makes your drivers tick, directly impacting the way they're driving during the race. Driver stats fluctuate depending on where they are in their career and which buildings you have in your HQ. Rolling over the stat bar shows some information about the stat and whether or not the driver is improving in that area. Each driver can have different personality traits, of which impacts their stats, or even the stats of those around them. The drivers are all human and may gain or lose stats during the course of their career. That's kind of like Warhammer in that fashion, where characters actually get traits that change their behavior around their army, or in this case around their team. Here you can see who the driver's mechanic is. You can also see their relationship with the driver. Which, as this builds up, the mechanic will do a better job for your driver. They'll be more inclined to try to work harder, basically. Marketability shows how likely this driver is to attract more and better sponsors. Here you can see the driver's current form, as well as a list of their historical season results. If a driver is scouted, you can click the compare button to compare two drivers. So, this right here, and once again I want to point out, compared to F1, these are the menus. A lot of these menus I've been showing you are a little easier to work with. They're a lot faster. They have access to other menus instantaneously, so I can compare to another driver if I'm scouting, and then immediately go from that to scout. So I can click a button, scout. It's like 3 button presses versus having to go through probably 4 or 5 menus just to get to where you're going. And back and forth as well. So, I will say, like I said, the menus outside of the race, to me overall, as you can see so far, way more manageable and kind of easier to deal with. Also, very detailed at the same time. Like, I can also just hover over them and see what they're doing as well. Like, she's actually not that bad. She's a really, you know what, I may end up making her the reserve driver. Because her feedback is really good. So that's really good for testing cars. His is too. So is it. So everyone's feedback is actually quite high on this team. He's actually kind of terrible. We're probably going to fire this guy as soon as we get our other driver. As soon as we find another driver to hire. But if we continue this series on in the future. But alright, next thing, let's go to team. So this is the team overall view. You've seen this before. You've seen HQ. I think we've seen pretty much everything. I'll go to the player tab and show it off for a second. So you'll notice I even have stats. So I have a race management of an 8. Stat increases when you do well in races and decreases when you perform poorly. Your financial stat increases when you're in what? Your financial stat increases when you're in the black and decreases when you're in the red. So meaning when I'm doing good, it goes higher. When I'm doing bad, it goes lower, just like all of them. Your loyalty stat steadily increases over time and will decrease. Uh-oh. I need to check. Oh, that's my alarm. Never mind, I'm fine. Your loyalty stat will decrease over time and will decrease when you fire a staff or change jobs. Or have a staff member change jobs. So don't just repeatedly fire people. You'll lose loyalty and then your crew will actually not care to do a better job. Because you're the manager in charge. It goes a long way. And technically, if I wanted to, if you really, really want to, you can actually look at the other managers' jobs in all of the different, areas. And you can actually take their job. So if you wanted to change teams, you actually could. Just like a real manager could in real life. So I've never done that, but that is a cool option that's there. So I think the only thing we haven't done now is finances. So here's a look at our finance screen. Shows a lot of what you've already seen on other things, like our target, what we need to do for our championship, our job security, the chairman's name of the team, car parts and how much we're spending on it, We're spending quite a lot right now just because we built a part. So you can see cost per race pretty terrible right now. You can request additional funds if you need them. I wouldn't do this unless we could do it right now because our job security is pretty high. But if you do this goes down pretty drastically if you do it too much. So, and you can set budget of next year's car. I wouldn't do this until you're at the end and you know how much money you're going to be carrying with you already. Because then you can set the budget of what you want to spend and save money as well. And then that to the most important part in this game, just like F1. This part's kind of similar as well, so I'm going to say that this one's not really any better or worse. It's basically the same difference. The only thing that might be slightly different is some of the requirements you have to meet to get paid by these sponsors. Let's see. They take the parts with them. That would be funny as hell. Fire me, huh? Well, good luck winning when I take all my wheels home. That is true, Tab Gang. That is true. I didn't realize you said that because I've been trying to keep on track. So I make sure I cover all the important parts of the comparison. But yeah, that would be hilarious, right? You fire your designers like, good luck without these wheels. Takes like a shit ton of the wheels with them. It is pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. Motorsport is eye-wateringly expensive. Is eye-wateringly expensive. So you're gonna need some sponsors. If you don't want to drive your chairman insane by dipping into the red, they will offer you a tidy sum of cash over the race weekend in return for you hitting certain targets. Deals last for a certain number of races, so in an ideal world, you'll have all of your sponsorship slots filled at all times. You have 6 slots on your car. Slots being the areas of your car you can sell to the sponsors. Each slot defines where the sponsor will be placed on the car, and some are more lucrative than others. The right-hand box contains fixed payment sponsors. These sponsors will pay a set amount each race regardless of where you finish. The left-hand box contains race sponsorships. These sponsors will provide bigger payouts, but you must meet their race targets in order to win the cash. Marketability is a measure of how attractive your team is to sponsors. It is comprised of your team's standing and your main 2 drivers' marketability. If you have a pair of unmarketable drivers, you're going to have a hard time picking up a top sponsor. When deciding which sponsor offer to go for, keep an eye out for certain things. If you want some money fast, you better keep an eye on the amount that the sponsors are offering you up front. On the other hand, you might want to secure a more lucrative sponsor bonus. This is often linked to how difficult the bonuses are to achieve. You would even pick up a sponsor with easy bonuses if you find them difficult to achieve over the race weekend. Well, you should know your way around the world of sponsorship now. Ready to keep your eyes peeled? The really good deals are few and far between. Alright, we're going to go ahead and set this up. Because I want to do this now if we ever do come back this. I don't have to set up any of this. I just have to upgrade parts. And, which we'll go show that off in a minute after this. So, Rogerson Ales or Marshall. I like ales over beers. They'll pay me... That's a $500,000 upfront payment. This is per race. Let's do an upfront payment because we need some of that money back. So Rogerson Ales is sponsor deal time is 8 races. And see, these are the ones I like. The ones that are upfront and fixed races. Let's do that. And the last one. There are no other choices, so peach plum. Peach. Up front. Oh no, fixed per race. Ooh, that's that's nice. That is nice. Okay. So new sponsors acquired. Let's go for let's see what offers we can take from the ones that require me to do certain things. So I need to be 8th or above. Ooh. So if I get 8th or above in qualifying or the race, I get 500,000 each. I don't think our car can do that, so I'm not going to do that. I do not think our car is capable of that yet. So now I need to go back to car. So here we go, improve parts. To show this off. You can improve your parts in 2 ways. Performance and reliability. You have 2 sub-teams who can do this. Oh, that's right, we have to check who's better at that. The performance team tune your parts up, increasing their main stat, e.g. top speed for an engine or acceleration for a gearbox. These parts will be improved up to their maximum performance value, which is decided in the part design. The reliability team is all about making your parts more, you guessed it, reliable. Again, each part has a max reliability, so they can only be improved up to their maximum. This side of the screen shows all of the parts that you currently have. And these buttons are filters. You can use these to select either just one driver's parts for all of your parts. As we just finished a brand spanking new rear wing and fitted it to the first driver. We finished a brake pad, but okay. Yeah, that is not a wing. Somebody didn't get the memo when they were communicating at the development team on the game to make that say a brake pad. You can use this button to add the part to the improvement queue. Once you begin improving the parts, they will appear in this queue over here. You can only work on a few parts at any one time. Though, to unlock more improvement slots, you need to upgrade your factory. For reliability and design facility for performance. Oh, your factory for reliability and design facility for performance. Each team is led by one of the 2 race mechanics, who contribute a chunk of work according to their stats. For example, a mechanic with great performance rating will speed up the work being done in that area. This means that you want to swap your mechanics around to take advantage. So I was going to actually check that, but the game must already know. Smashing. You can see that the race mechanic impact has now changed. The slider allows you to sway the work towards one team or the other. Move the slider towards the reliability team. How far? All the way, apparently. The staff impact has gone up, reducing the time it will take to work on it as well. If you don't want to decide which part to improve yourself, you can hit the autofill button. It will grab what your mechanics thinks are best parts to improve and add them to the free slots. That's the stuff. See how you've added these new parts? Yep. You can clear the part from the queue by rolling over its icon and clicking the clear button. Or you should click the clear button, which will clear the entire queue. And now they're gone. Muy bien, muy bien. Now you should have a good grasp on all aspects of improving your car. So go forth and prosper. Okay, we are going to actually do... So we're going to improve reliability here. Where's the other one? Well, I don't want just his parts. I want both cars' parts. So it's the 601 one. We're going to want to improve performance there. The engine, this top engine is actually really capable of doing better, so let's improve that. And reliability, that engine also needs some reliability training. So this is the front wing, but we'll go with this for now. And, completion time 32 days after race. So there's no point. We're going to do it perfectly in the middle. That way it works on a little at a time. Because don't worry about this. This is just a rough estimate when this will reach 100. You can actually just tick over a couple of days and check see what your process is and see what the percentage has gotten to, and then decide whether you want to change this or not. And then, like I was saying earlier, something that's good about this game, you can go between all the different sections you want to do to design new parts and everything from one little screen. So it's a good way to get through everything a lot faster. So that's improving parts. I think the last thing is, we already did sponsors. Standings, which is just pretty standard. You can check all your standings in each of the series. If I remember correctly, there's a special challenge you can do when you create a custom team, where you can actually have a team for each of these. So, like you can actually have a team for each of these. What's it called? Like you see, like look at the prize fund for winning the World Motorsport Cup is for this tier. 500 mil. Quite good. And you can also check out the current rules here of what is not allowed and what is allowed. If you really want to be a stickler like I am in these types of games, you can look at these and see what you can push the limits on when you're making new parts, and try to mid-max your car completely. Then, of course, calendar, the most important part probably in this game, is it lets you see all of your upcoming, what's it called? If you want to see a big breakdown, you can click the what day it is next to the continue button, and then you can look through and see what all's coming up ahead of you. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily make this game better, it just makes it, it just makes it different, I guess is the best word to put it when it comes to stuff like that. I personally prefer this one overall. Maybe not look-wise, but gameplay-wise, overall I prefer this one. But there are some things in F1 that I would love to have in this game that would add even more cool and awesome flair to this game. And like I said, maybe they'll make a new one at some point, and we'll get to see it then. But, alright, let's quit out here. Let me make a save for our playthrough. Save as. Hey, Jared Valentine. Save. Alright, yes. Let me go back in there. You'll notice I actually have another one. This is my other one. This is the Underdog Challenge one. You start with nothing in this thing. This thing right here, when you do this challenge, you start with no facilities. You get like only 2 buildings in your headquarters. The ones that allow you to at least build the stuff you need. But that's it. You start with only that. No crew stuff. 2 very terrible drivers usually. Terrible cars. Terrible everything. You start from literally nothing when you do the Underdog Challenge. Like literally nothing. Which I'll show how to access that real quick. Let's quit back to the main menu. But yeah, okay. So if you go into, you notice that, like, this is the extra content. These are all the DLCs you can buy. You notice I own all of them already. But this is what gives you the other factions. So if you want to do GT, it's its own DLC. It allows you to do GT races. If you want to do, this gave me more liveries to pick from. If you want to do endurance, which is like super cars, you got to have this DLC. And then, of course, this is where the Underdog Challenge comes from, DLC-wise. And, of course, creating your own team was a DLC originally. But you'll notice it was free. It was a free DLC, and so was this. But these are the ones you have to pay for, is these three right here. The light blue, the yellow, and the purple. This is where the Underdog Challenge comes from, which I will highlight real quick, which is in here. So, this one. So this one right now, this one right here. So it's endless. It will never stop. You will keep going from season to 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 season. As you can see, Underdog Challenge. Take the lowest rated team in the game, Predator Racing Group, to the top of the World Motorsport Championship. Challenge info, win the WMC's Driver and Team Championship in the same year. Every dog has its day achievement rewards. Restrictions, teams allowed, only Predator Racing Group. You cannot leave the team. Duration is endless. Same thing here. Teams allowed, only Archer BMR. Starting at the very bottom, make your way to the managerial ladder. This is kind of similar, by the way. The only difference in this one is that you see you cannot leave this team. You cannot leave this team whatsoever. You cannot form a team. You cannot do anything. Here, you're allowed to leave the team if you feel that you'd rather have a different team to work for as a manager. And, of course, there's also the challenges in these. These challenges are ones that I think are only per race. Yeah, duration 1 race. So it shows you how many races you have to complete each of these challenges. And doing these challenges unlocks the challenges for the other sections of the game. So like the GT, the endurance challenges and the pro challenges, or the all-star and the pro challenges are in here. I don't know what these do. I don't know if they actually give you anything. Let me see. Player accessory available. Yeah, so we get stuff for our career to look cooler and cooler. If you do these challenges, like, yeah, you'll get accessories and stuff for each of your careers you play through. Seems to be... Oh! Aha! So this gives me new drivers. So completing this challenge unlocks both of these drivers to be scoutable. Yep. Oh. Oh. We need to get this driver. I want this driver because then we can literally have a Ricky Bobby, basically. Bobby Jr. You cannot leave team. Bobby Jr. can't leave your team either. Okay. 12 races. That'd be cool, something I'd try on my own. But yeah, you unlock different stuff from doing them. What does this give again? That's an achievement. Oh, so these are just achievements. So these are more for fun. If you just want to have a special style of play. But these are more for actually unlocking things for your career. But yeah, I think that's been a pretty good one. I think this has been a pretty good stream for our first real look at Motorsport Manager on the channel and the different things that makes it better and worse in some cases than F1 22. Overall, preference-wise, I do prefer this game overall. The biggest thing that wins me for this game, though, it's actually very close between the two with me, but the thing that wins me on this game is this right here. You being able to make your own team makes a lot of difference to me. inside of a game that's about being a manager and having your own team and managing that team from nothing to something, or even champion, this goes a long way with me. So this right here is the main reason, the only main reason why I prefer this game personally over F1 22. But that doesn't make it better. It's just like I said, that's why I did this comparison video for anyone out there who prefers managerial style racing games where you manage the team rather than racing in the team. I hope this has been helpful and you deciding which one you would prefer. Because like I said, either's worth the money. Either one you prefer, worth the money. If you like F1 22, pick it up. It's worth it. If you like this style of manager racing game better and be able to make your own team from the scratch, pick this one up. Also worth the money. And pick up the DLCs as well, because like I said, they give you all the rest of the good stuff, including the free ones, the 2 free DLCs especially, that allow you to create your own team and customize the look of your car. So definitely. But I want to give a big shout out to Farseer in chat, to Tam King in chat, and to everyone in the background that just was watching tonight's stream and checking out my motorsport kind of review compared to F1. I hope y'all have enjoyed. Tam King says, fun stream, hard not. Hope we get this on console. I hope we do too. Even though it's not a multiplayer game, you would enjoy this, Tam King. I know you would. I think you'd like this one because you're more like me in that managerial stat. I think you would like this one better overall, just like I do. Not like I said, not to say the other one isn't good, but yeah, I think you would like this one. So hopefully this one does come to console as well. I don't know if I'll play it on console because I already have it on PC. It would mean I'd have to buy the DLC again. But if it does come to console, I do recommend it, Tam King, for you to pick it up. It's a great game. Same thing to James if he sees this, or any of my PSN followers as well. Because this is sadly not on Xbox. If it was on Xbox, I'd also recommend it to all my Xbox players. But this is only on Steam that I know of. I don't think it's on any of the Microsoft stores. So, it might be on Epic, but that's still only PC. So I think at the moment it's only PC platforms like Steam and Epic Game Store and all that. But thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed this stream. And peace and love to all you guys out there. And I will see you all in the next stream either tonight. I'm going to try to get Warhammer done tonight, but I may not be able to. If not, we'll do Warhammer if I'm not working on my IRL. Because like I said, I've got this thing that I'm doing as a job that I'm trying to get in IRL that I'm focusing on right now. So the schedule is going to be a little sporadic. Not as bad as it was when I had a financial crisis going on, but it will still be here and there where I might have not as much time during certain days, so certain streams may not get done every now and then, but they will be made up for next week. Don't worry, I will make sure that they will find a spot whenever like I did today with this one. So if we don't get Warhammer done tonight, if I have extra time done tomorrow, I will do Warhammer tomorrow before we do Guardians, because we will be doing Guardians after I get home tomorrow from my group that I'm starting for amputees and handicapped people. Amputees mainly right now, but I'm hoping that we can grow our group for that. But I'm also doing that. I'm doing that tomorrow. I've got a meeting for that tomorrow. So, so I won't be doing Guardians until late tomorrow. So expect Guardians stream to be a later stream tomorrow. So, but that one will happen though. But I want to say thank you to you guys again, and peace and love, guys. Have a great night if I don't get to see y'all, and if I don't get to do the next stream. And stay safe out there, y'all. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone. Bye.